Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm Black Bright and I'm broadcasting from the east of England around the world, and I just want to welcome you as a listener. And yeah, today I was wondering if God was a globalist before he was a separatist, because in Genesis it said everybody had one tongue, spoke one language. And then when it came to the Tower of Babel, he confused them because, they were going against his laws and his morals. So this is where allegedly divide and rule came from, how we all ended up in different parts of the world and how we all ended up with different languages. Now, I was trying to think, putting in today's context with Trump wanting to erect a border wall. Now, a lot of these politicians claim to be Christians, and I can see how their philosophy parallels with the Old Testament and Christianity. Because when you think about the Tower of Babel, they were all, before they did that, everybody spoke one language. And everybody was unified and integrated, and then all of a sudden, to eliminate their power, to eliminate their unity, they created division. Well, God created division, because if you can't communicate with another person, you can't work with them. Now, today, we are living in a world where we are being separated and distinguished in a different way. Okay, Trump is advocating a border wall, which is a physical boundary. And we have to remember that in the Bible, in Exodus, God created a boundary between the Red Sea. And all of that is to do with separating people. When you separate people, it's like divide and conquer. So now we have to kind of think to ourselves, how are we being divided? Especially as a black race, how are we being divided in order to weaken us? We're being divided first by race, by class, by gender. We have all these different Caribbean islands: Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbuda, Antigua, Barbados, St. Kitts, Nevis, all of these different islands. To compound it, we have Black African, Black American, Black Caribbean, Black British. Another breakdown. And when you think about not only that, you have your sexual orientation. That breaks us down even further. And the biggest division is black between white, mixed race between black, mixed race between white, Asian, Hispanic, all of those divisions. And it's all to create divide and rule. It's all to weaken everyone. Because if we are all separated and we see ourselves as separate entities, how would we gain any strength or any power or any unity? We can't. So it's no wonder why the government or the powers that be actually benefit from us being ununified and having disunity. And if they are going from the Bible and they see the Bible as their template, you can understand why they are following it. But they're following it to the rule. And they're only following it, the Old Testament. They're not following the New Testament where, we're under a new law under God. We're under the law of grace. We don't have to follow those laws that were in the Old Testament. But we have a segment of people who are trying to bring back those old laws again, so that people can remain divided, that people yet that there is a dominant class. And yes, there will be a dominant and a subordinate class by virtue of wealth and things like that. But there'll be a point where, regardless of your race and your colour, everyone's going to be divided in a different way. It's going to be divided between the poor and the rich. When everything goes down, with regard to whether or not it is the re-shutdown of the government, whether it is civil war, whether it is nuclear war, whatever is going down, everybody except for the rich are going to be classed under one umbrella, whether you speak the same language, you look alike or not. If you're not at a certain echelon and you haven't got those underground bunkers and places to where you are safe, you're just going to be classed in, you're going to be thrown in the same bucket as everyone else. Because those of us who cannot pay our way out of this catastrophe are all going to be fated. And it's not a nice way to look at these things, but when you think about people who do, I don't even know if it's a government, I don't know who it is, but when you look at how the world is shaping day by day and what's happening and how we are interacting with each other and how we're separating from ourselves from each other, it's very easy to see a picture being formed. I don't know what that picture is. I don't know what that picture is going to look like in 3 months, 6 months, 8 months' time. With regard to Brexit, like I've said, I've got a funny feeling it's going to coincide with with what's going on in America. If they pull out Article 24, which gives us 10 years, apparently without a deal, to kind of come to some agreement. And there's no trade-offs if they do kind of go with Article 24. But I don't know if that's what they're going to do. I don't even know if they want us to know about Article 24. I don't even know if Article 24 can actually be activated. But it is a way out, and I don't know who it's a way out for, but it is not a way out, but it's a delay tactic. It's a delay tactic. So, what am I saying to you guys? I'm saying that in order not to be defeated, we need to be unified. And all this separatism, looking at that person over there and thinking that person is different, that person speaks different, I don't want to know that person. There's going to be a time when you need to pull together, regardless of your race, regardless of your language. Because if you don't, we're all going down. There won't be anybody to pull you up and to save you. There won't be. So you need to know that where there is unity, there is strength. And a lot of us are operating out of fear. We're operating out of frustration. A lot of us, we do not know what's happening from one day to the next. A lot of us are oblivious. We're just walking on as though nothing's happening. We have a lot of different people. There are people who are not evolved. And they're probably better off not being evolved. They say ignorance is bliss. So there are people walking around who haven't got a clue. And then you have people who really in the know, not someone like me who kind of picks up different vibes. When I'm going to talk about something, I don't kind of study it. I get a kind of voice, or I get an idea. And then I think, the other day I thought, I wonder if God was a globalist before he was a separatist. Because when I think about globalism and no boundaries and everybody working together, that does sound like an ideal world. And it was only when God got angry that he separated everyone. So, when I'm thinking about now and the move towards globalization, could they be taking that from the Bible? I don't know, but what can I say? Sometimes I talk, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like I say, I have ideas and I have thoughts and I don't know where they're going. I don't know how to articulate them in a way that is comprehensible. But I know kind of where I'm going. But because I don't know enough about the Bible, I just know bits. I don't know enough about politics, I just know bits. But somehow these bits kind of come together in my head, but I can't articulate them in the right way. But I hope there is something in what I'm saying, and maybe some of you will be able to pick up on what I'm trying to say, or if it makes sense. And if it does to any of you, please leave a comment, because like I said, sometimes I don't have a clue. All right then, thanks for listening. Bye bye.